Good morning. Welcome to another morning intention and insights. And today's topic is cultivating joy in trials. So if you are around, join me, say hello. Tell me where in the world you are. Well, this is quite a timely topic because we are all facing a lot of trials in this world. And it can be challenging to stay above the negativity, the fear, discouragement, all the things that happen when we're facing trials, especially on a global scale. But the same is true when you're facing personal trials or professional trials. So, whatever challenges that are coming up, what I want to share are some ways to cultivate joy in those trials and then help you guide you to an intention for the day to really live into that. So, trials, of course, are just a part of life. And it's really an opportunity for us to consider how will we choose to hold this burden that we've been gifted with, and how will we choose to navigate whatever trial we may be facing. The tendency, of course, is to want to retreat, to maybe roll up in a ball, and often take on sort of the victim mentality, like, oh, who are you to make a difference? Who are you to stand up and speak out? Who are you? Like, you're one person. It's not gonna matter. So that sense of helplessness, which will just, of course, perpetuate the trial or challenge, whatever it is you're facing. And so how to step into taking deeper deeper responsibility, more responsibility for your role in making change, whether even if it seems like it's not going to make a difference in the lives of others, it actually will. So, noticing where you might have that tendency to think it doesn't matter, you're just one person, that tendency to entertain the victim energy, that sense of helplessness, that sense of it's too much, it's too hard, it's too big, whatever it might be, and notice it, honor that that's maybe a part of you that you need to allow to let go, to release, because that's not true, because you do have power no matter what's going on, because the power really is how you choose to respond, how you choose to be a voice in the midst of a challenge. Are you going to be the one that contributes to perpetuating fear, perpetuating discouragement, perpetuating victim energy? Or will you choose to see you were born for such a time as this? You were born to stand up. You were born to speak out. And your life can be an example of what it is to live in your principles, to live in your beliefs, and to know that no one can take your power away. Even, there are stories of so many Holocaust survivors who, even in the worst circumstances where they really literally were victims, many of them chose to hold on to their dignity, chose to hold on to their belief in something greater, chose to believe how they dealt with what it is that they were going through mattered more than what they were going through. So, how we can cultivate joy in trials, and of course, that begins with having a deeper connection with God, with something much bigger than you, because on our own, of course, we can feel it's helpless and there's not much we can do. And that's part of why, we cultivate faith. That's why we need God, because yes, we are powerful, but we're not all powerful. And we do need the support of God to help guide us through what our path is. And in that is where we can cultivate joy in seeing that God will never give you more than you can handle. And so it's understanding, how is this challenge or trial that you're facing How is this actually meant for you in order to grow you, in order to disrupt you, in order to destabilize you? Because perhaps maybe you've been on a path where you've been a little bit disconnected, a little bit distracted, a little bit kind of going through the motions of life because you haven't really uh, maybe not that you didn't have to, but it could be just that you're like, used to have a job where I just kind of went through the motions. And when you face challenges, it's an opportunity to be destabilized, to be disrupted. And when we can see that as a good thing, that it is good that we're being destabilized, it's good that we're being disrupted, because what that does is it allows us to wake up. It allows us to recognize where we have been perhaps dismissing our power and dismissing our role in making change and being part of, a bigger solution. So when you can really start to shift into this and see, okay, maybe you're feeling anxious, maybe you're feeling a little bit of fear, maybe you're feeling a little bit of discouragement. How can you step into that and see, okay, how is this an opportunity for me to really destabilize the old patterns, disrupt those old patterns, and step into who I'm really meant to be, into what God is calling you to be, into the person who is a warrior, who is willing to fight, who is willing to stand up, who is willing to speak out. And in that, finding joy. Because in that, you see, okay, this challenge is calling me to something greater, is calling out traits in me that have been latent, that I'm meant to be using in order to help others, in order to create a difference in this world. And when you can start to see, instead of, when you see anxiety or fear or discouragement, and you get more discouraged and more anxious and more fearful, to instead shift and say, okay, great. How is this the opportunity for me to step into something greater? And so you start to shift how you view what it is that you're going through. Instead of feeling worse because you feel anxious, you see, okay, anxiety is a sign that I'm being called something greater. And of course, it's going to bring up some discomfort and some fear. And that's good, because the way you were being no longer serves you. And so that's why the disruption and why you're being called into something greater. And of course, those uncomfortable feelings are going to come along with it. So when you can start to see that's a good thing, then you can start to see, what are the things you want to do to make change? What are the things you want to start speaking out against? What are the things that are important to you that you've been hiding and holding back on? Where have you been maybe playing small in your life? And knowing, hey, you know what? Trials are a part of life. Anxiety might be a part of life. And if they're going to be there anyway, why not step into something greater instead of living this life with anxiety and fear and just going through the motions and just getting by? Why not, if you're going to have to, because we all are going to have to face trials as part of life, and maybe anxiety is part of one of your trials, if that's going to be there anyway, why not step into something greater? And why not speak out and take a stand for something versus have those uncomfortable feelings and just be kind of getting by? Why not have those uncomfortable feelings and use them as a catalyst for change? And then see them as an opportunity for you to see, okay, how wonderful that this is coming up for me. How wonderful that I get to step into something greater. So there is a verse in James chapter 1 that I love that says, this is chapter 1, verses 2-6. Count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. And let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. So it's stepping into faith, knowing you're not promised another day, knowing you're not promised anything, but knowing as you step into faith, that's when you will be perfected into the work that you're meant to do. And so today's intention then is to, when you notice yourself getting triggered, by what's happening in the media, what's happening in the world, what's happening in our government, what's happening in your business, what's happening in your marriage, what's happening in your life and your family, repeat that verse. Count it joy when you face various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. Let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. Because faith is when you start to sense you do lack nothing. All right, so let me hear your thoughts. And if you are in the Denver area, join me this evening for Alpha. It's a group where you can come and just ask questions about God, about faith, about what that looks like. Completely judgment-free. Any question you want. There's no restrictions on anything. I'll put a link below. It's in the Denver metro area around Hamden in Colorado. And of course, if you are looking for support around just navigating life's trials and trials in your business, reach out to me and let's get on a call and see what we can put together for you. All right, friends, make today amazing and find joy in every trial that you face, because it is for you and it is perfecting you. Bye.